Last time on Boruto, Code had finally managed to convince Amado to unlock his limiters, giving him his full breadth of Otsutsuki power. But Ada has been convinced by Amado to potentially go over to the side of the leaf in order to get closer to Kawaki. And where Ada goes, Daemon goes. So Code has essentially lost his only real allies, only being able to bring Bug along with him. So will Amado's plan actually manage to work out in the end? Or is Ada more trouble than she's worth? Join me as I find out, won't you? Alright, Boruto, Naruto Next Generation, Chapter 72, Smaller and More Useful. That is not what she said. We have Naruto, Kawaki, and Shikamaru all talking in the room where it happened. The room where it happened, the room where it happened, the room where it happened. Kawaki says, I told you, I don't know anything. Amado restored my karma without my permission. Shikamaru isn't convinced and says, so he said, but it seems he had some other motive, not just to help you. Does anything come to mind at all? Kawaki says, I want to know that myself. I have absolutely no clue. In any case, now that Code's captured him, do Amado's motives really matter anymore? Since he's likely a goner? Or Naruto doesn't like where this conversation is going and says, stop it, Kawaki. You shouldn't say things like that. Kawaki objects and says, it's the truth. Why pretend otherwise? Hey Shika, you're secretly glad, aren't you? To not have to deal with that shifty bastard. I mean, just because it's true, you shouldn't say it, Kawaki. Shikamaru gets pissed and is like ready to go at it and says, what, you brat? Then he's halted by Naruto who tells him to stop. Kawaki snaps back and says, worthless and upset. What a great combo. Damn. He sounds like the fans several chapters ago. Boruto says, Kawaki, that's enough. A shinobi enters the room and says, surprising Naruto, who asks, what? The shinobi says, apologies, but there's an urgent phone call for you, Master Shikamaru, from Mr. Amado. Shikamaru's caught off guard and says, what? Meanwhile, in the snowy mountainous region, we see Amado, Ada, and Daemon, who's on Ada's back, like a little monkey. Amado is on the phone and says, it's a freaking payphone too. He says, Shikamaru, so good to hear your voice. Yeah, everything hurts, but I'm still alive, unfortunately. Shikamaru's not very plussed by this and says, I can't believe it. What the heck happened? Where are you? Amado says, a train station on the outskirts of the land of snow. It'll take 3 to 4 days to return to Konoha. Shikamaru asks, what about Code? Neither he nor his claw marks better be nearby. Amado says, no worries, I've already checked. I won't fall for the same trick as you. Ooh, man, everybody's snapping at Shikamaru. But speaking of Code, I've got some good news, Shikamaru. Ada's cut ties with Code. She won't be aiding him anymore. He's lost his greatest ally. Shikamaru's stunned and says, what? If it's really true, that's amazing news, but what the heck did you do? Amado responds, I simply talked. Convince Ada to side with Konoha. She's accepted your proposition. Shikamaru's still stunned. Ada accepted my proposition? Yes, what are you, a parrot? Amado says, that's right. You better prepare a real nice room for her. You don't want to offend her. Shikamaru's caught off guard and says, hold on. Code has at least one other strong partner who isn't Ada. What about him? Amado is surprised and says, oh, you knew already. About Daemon? Shikamaru is once again caught off guard and says, Daemon? And what is he? Are we supposed to take him in too? Amado explains, Daemon is Ada's little brother. I'll explain more when I get there, but you can't just invite her and expect her to leave him behind. Shikamaru is, again, still taken off guard. Her little brother? Wait a second, Amado. You had no authority to make deals like that on your own. Oh, man. Shikamaru. Dude's gonna have an ulcer. Amado snaps back. Back at you, Shikamaru. You don't have the authority either. It's all up to Ada. Once she's made up her mind, we no longer have any alternative but to comply, right? Remember, you started that. What's definite is that you don't want these siblings as your enemy. Trust me on one more thing. This is somewhat bad news, but I rescinded Code's limiter. Shikamaru says, what? Amado explains, I had no choice. It was that or die. Be forward thinking, Shikamaru. Code is stronger now, for sure. But he no longer has Ada. That's actually a mortal blow to his battle strength. With Ada and Daemon added to Konoha's arsenal, Code should be insignificant. You're good with game pieces, right? Well, the rest is in your hands. Shikamaru is exasperated and says, damn it, fine. Just get back here, Stat. I have tons of questions for you. Amado says, yeah, I know, later, and hangs up the phone. Ada is unpleased with the conversation and says, who are you calling game pieces? Amado pauses and says, it's a figure of speech. That's effective with Shikamaru. Ada is still not too pleased, saying, whatever. You better help play matchmaker with Kawaki, using that clever tongue of yours. You hear? If things don't go well between me and Kawaki, I'll kill you out of spite. Amado is shocked and asks, what? Even Ada is taken off guard by his surprise. Why do you look shocked? It should be obvious. I'm almost irritated enough to kill you right now for giving me this ability to enhance the entire human race. Giving me this ability to enchant the entire human race. Damon chimes in and says, though I'll be the one doing the killing, you know? Amado pulls out a cigarette, not responding to the threat. Ada continues, so you better do your best for your own sake. Jeez, is Ada really not going to be a villain anymore? Because she still comes off like a villain. Amado smokes and just sighs. Shikamaru, still thinking about everything that happened, and then gets on with the operator, who responds yes. Shikamaru says, put out a call. Summon Naruto to the Hokage office. Team 7 as well. All of them, including Kawaki. Meanwhile, at the Uzumaki residence, we see Boruto putting on his totally a missing Nin headband that for some reason people let him wear. And as Boruto checks the rest of his outfit, he sees the markings on his chest from having all of this restored by Momoshiki. He touches it for a moment, obviously displeased. He heads down the stairs, puts on his shoes, tells his mom, I'm heading out. Hinata calls out to Boruto and says, I heard you have a mission. Is it true? Boruto responds with a smile, yeah. A direct summon from Uncle Shikamaru, no less. Team 7's been on total hiatus because of my karma, so Sarada and Mitsuki are chomping at the bit. Hinata pauses with a melancholic look on her face, saying, I see. That's great. Boruto questions her. A single tear rolls down Hinata's face. She wipes away at it and says, oh no, I'm so sorry. I didn't intend to be a mess. I mean, I know I need to see you off with a smile. It's just that. She cries with her face in her hands. Himawari comes around the corner not saying anything. Hinata explains, whenever you head out somewhere, I just can't help thinking that this time you're not going to come back. Boruto pauses, but looks back to his mother and says, I'm sorry to keep making you worry. I don't know this mission's details yet, but it seems to be something only my team can carry out. So I don't really have a choice, do I? Hinata wipes away her tears, and Boruto gives her a smile, saying, it'll be alright. I mean, I even died that once, but I came back totally fine. Dude, do not say that to your mother. Jesus. Ugh. Poor girl. Himawari also listens on with a very sad look in her face. Boruto says as he stands up, I'll come home, no matter what. I promise. Hinata simply tells him, be careful, okay? Boruto still gives her a reassuring smile, opens the door. However, as he closes it, and steps out, there's a fog in the air. Boruto turns away from the door and spots Momoshiki standing all up in his yard and shit. Boruto says, Momoshiki. Momoshiki taunts him. You promised to come home. How irresponsible. Boruto is offended and says, hey, freeloader, you can't resurrect anymore, right? Why are you still sticking around? Momoshiki responds, let me ask you, boy, why do you still cling to your meaningless existence when you know your future holds nothing but despair? Boruto pauses at this and says, what? Momoshiki explains, I told you that you were going to lose everything, and that moment is rapidly approaching. You shall despair, lose your will to live, enough to want to escape this world, and when that day comes, I shall take over and live Uzumaki Boruto's life for you. Oh, that's a little creepy. Boruto is caught off guard and says, what? Momoshiki says, don't worry. All you need to do is just cower quietly in the corner of your psyche for eternity. I do not care about resurrecting anymore, since possessing your body shall yield the same result. It'll happen soon enough. No matter what form it takes, you were always meant to be my vessel. Boruto responds, you bastard. I'll let you run your mouth, but I'm not in agreement with this. I'd rather die than hand myself over to you. Momoshiki responds, I won't let you die ever again. You are my precious vessel, my life. No one can have you. Boruto responds, that's my line, you freeloader. You've outlived your time. Get lost. You're gonna shove my consciousness into a corner? Fine, if that's even possible. I'll make sure you can never emerge again. You'll be the one in despair in the future. And as Momoshiki starts to disappear, he says, sputter all you want. Your fate is already decided. I look forward to it, Uzumaki Boruto. What a creep. And he even laughs. Boruto calls out, hey, hold up, you bastard! But as he tries to go running after Momoshiki, in comes Sarada and Mitsuki. Mitsuki says, oh, you look like you're prepared already. Sarada says, wow, that's quick for you. Are you all pumped because of the mission? But then Sarada notices the expression on Boruto's face and questions him. Boruto cries out, you gotta be kidding me. Give me a break. I'll decide my own fate. Thank you very much. Sarada is taken off guard and says, huh? What's up with you? This is beyond pumped. You're being weird. But Boruto goes leafing over the fence to his house and says, oh yeah? Or I guess he's crying out, oh yeah! And Sarada says, that's my line. What the? And Mitsuki just simply says, even if he dies and comes back, or becomes Otsutsuki, Boruto will likely always be Boruto. Meanwhile, at the door, Hinata is still just looking on where Boruto used to be. Himawari comes walking up to her and says, Mom, I was just thinking that if I became a ninja, maybe I could help Boruto out a little. Or would you worry even more? Hinata pauses, obviously not sure of how to answer that. As he leaps across Konoha, Boruto looks at his karma mark and says, I won't let you do as you please, Momoshiki. You hear? Meanwhile, in the area where the Ten Tails is sealed, we see Code coming out of one of his portals, with Bug following behind. Bug ends up falling flat on his face and asks Code, damn it, could you just be a bit more gentle? The Bug looks around at the carvings in the mountainside next to them. He questions, what is this place? Code explains, somewhere you normally can only get to using space-time ninjutsu. I'm an exception. I come and go via the claw marks I placed when Jigen brought me. We'd be in trouble if they disappeared. Bug says, hey, I better be able to get out of here. Code looks into the container of the Ten Tails as it growls at him. Code addresses it saying, now. Have you been good? Bug looks at the creature in awe. Is this the fabled Ten Tails, to whom you're feeding the Hokage's son? Code explains, pesky Uchiha Sasuke can't come here anymore, but Boruto and Kawaki are full Otsutsuki now. They might master space-time ninjutsu before long. Then this place will no longer be secure. Bug questions, not my problem, but what's your plan now that you're on your own? Just as you got your strength back, you got totally pummeled by Damon, then cut out of your alliance like being kicked when you're already down. Code explains, honestly, Damon's strength was unexpected, truly on another level. I was outclassed. Bug explains, that's why I tried to stop you from waking him. I really wish you'd listen. Code says, well, no use obsessing over the past. You know, I'm pretty messed up over my broken heart. Could you try being a bit sympathetic? Throw me a bone or two? Bug is perplexed, saying, I just don't get you. How can you be so nonchalant under these circumstances? Code explains, isn't it obvious? 'Cause things are actually okay. Anyway, first, let's adjust Ten Tails into a more manageable size. What? How the hell? Bug says, adjust. Code forms claws on his fingers and slashes across the Ten Tails. The Ten Tails cries out, and Code just keeps on slashing away again and again and again wrapping the 10 tails in his mark. Bug is of course shocked to see so many, as am I, and Code explains, the claw marks are made by mixing just a little iron from my blood with physically embodied chakra. They're half material, half chakra, my hidden weapon. There used to be a limit to how many I could put out at one time, but the restored me can create enough to completely enwrap this behemoth, a previously impossible feat. Where's he going with this, though? Bug questions, you buried it in claw mark. What for? Code explains, I told you. I'm going to adjust it. Smaller and more useful. Well, there's title drop. And, the studs on the claw mark start to protrude further and further out. And the 10 tail starts to shrink. Bug questions, is its body shrinking? Are those thorn-like things... As those thorn-like things keep growing? Code explains, a biju is by nature a giant lump of chalk, so I'm simply splitting it up like pinching pieces off of molded clay. Ew. Yeah. Pieces of it just fall right off on the ground. Bug asks, what's gonna happen now? And then, much to his shock, the pieces of the 10 tails form into their own humanoid-like beings. They almost kind of look like Frieza from Dragon Ball, white with tails and few fingers. Bug says, what totally creepy. But then one of the, I don't know what to call them, 10-tail putties go racing into one of the markings on another one and comes out the claw mark behind Code. Code is shocked and turns and says, they can travel via the claw mark? And as Code holds one of the claw marks on his hand up to his eye, it appears on the face of one of the 10-tail putties. And as Code says, well, Bug, they're much smaller and more useful. No. I gotta admit, I actually like this development. See, now Code's starting to feel a little bit more intimidating. These are, they're aspects of the 10-tail. I wonder how powerful they could possibly be. They're aspects of a whole Jinchuriki. Well, a whole Biju. And even small pieces of the 9 tails were still powerful. So they might have the power of a Jinchuriki. Even at a lower level, one Jinchuriki is already pretty powerful. And with Code able to travel through each of these creatures, geez, it's the white Zetsu all over again. I gotta admit, this is an interesting development. I still feel, though, Code would be more interesting if he managed to keep Ada and Damon by his side, because they're just too powerful. I feel like there needs to be more depth of a reasoning why they split off from Code. But it also was pretty clear that Ada and Code weren't completely seeing eye to eye on things, so who knows. And what Momoshiki said to Boruto. Some interesting developments. Honestly and truly. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What is Momoshiki alluding to? Has he seen the future, or is that all just bluster? Will Ada truly cooperate with Konoha? And how dangerous are these aspects of the 10-tail? Are they as strong as a Jinchuriki, or as weak as a white Zetsu? Let me know your thoughts and theories in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for notifications. And until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I hope to see you in the next video. Until then, bye-bye.